It's almost time for the third and penultimate race this weekend in the GB4 Championship at one of the most iconic racetracks in the United Kingdom. Of course, this is Donington Park, Leicestershire to one side, Derbyshire to the other, and the best county in my opinion, Nottinghamshire, just to the other side as well. And these young drivers have got a lot on the line. There is a championship up for grabs with only 2 races left this season, and a lot has happened since the last race, which we're going to bring you highlights of in just a second. I'm Jon Jackson here as fans still come in behind us at Donington Park, still people filtering in. Lots of people here today braving these cold and windy weathers. It's been one of those days where you kind of want to be getting a little bit of cover, but we're out here as the cars make their way to the assembly area ahead of this race. This is the reverse grid race in the GB4 Championship here at Donington Park. We also have a reverse grid race that should have taken place at Brands Hatch last time out, but it didn't, and that's going to be run a little bit later today. So we've got a lot to talk about, seriously. It's a lot. But first of all, let's remind ourselves of what happened in that last race here at Donington Park in the GB4 Championship.
Highlights from round 19 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Lewis Werrell with a poor start from the mid-pack, but a great one for Leon Wilson to take over the race lead into the opening corner. Isaac Phelps getting caught out somewhat, and straight around the outside would go Wilson and Junkos as well. Ari Bansal with a great start was getting aggressive in the opening stage of the races to try and find his way past basically the entire field, and Dan Ginchard as well, his championship rival, the top 2 in the title race going side by side. Bansal around the outside, potentially exceeding track limits in doing so. Big double lock-up coming in for Isaac Phelps as he would go straight on going into the Melbourne hairpin. He'd be able to recover himself ahead of his teammate Ari Bansal, but the drama was only building. Thankfully, he'd settle himself into the race and would start working his way forward. Contact, I believe, between the teammates that would see Jack Taylor going for a spin at the final corner, be able to rejoin, but again, right towards the rear end of the field. The battling was happening up and down the order. A couple of drivers going off the road, including Dayton Coulthard, who was off, the race winner yesterday. Jason Pribble also with a lot of pressure coming onto his shoulders from Alex Catoulis, had this mistake going through the fog at ES, and then a fair amount of drama further back. Liddy Watkins way off the road going through the old hairpin, was able to rejoin the circuit though after dropping down to the rear end of the field. Track limit excursions was the main talking point of the day. A lot of drivers coming a cropper of the track limit violations and receiving penalties courtesy of it. Jack Taylor will be one of those, would also go wide and lose his front wing in courtesy of that moment. Dan Ginchard was getting aggressive as well with his move down the inside of Ari Bansal and Leandro Junkos. That one wouldn't quite work out in favour of Bansal, who would work his way straight back through. And then there was the attack for the race lead. Leon Wilson feeling the pressure from the likes of Isaac Phelps. Ari Bansal also working his way through on Leandro Junkos. And then there was this move as they'd work up the hill into McLean's. Down the inside goes Isaac Phelps. Leon Wilson dropped back into second position. Isaac Phelps would work his way up into the race lead and would start to check out, but would he be able to hold it? Unfortunately, he'd be receiving a post-race time penalty for exceeding track limits, a retirement late on, I believe, for Dayton Coulthard. A couple of drivers feeling the pressure. There was this contact between Dan Ginchard and Ari Bansal late on in the race that would cost Ginchard a few positions. Isaac Phelps would come through the final corner victorious, however it would be stripped away from him, and Leon Wilson would win for the second time in the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC.
Weekend in the GB4 Championship. It leaves us after the penalties, which we'll talk you through in just a second. Ari Bansal as the championship leader for Elite Motorsport, 357.6 points ahead of his teammate Isaac Phelps with Elite Motorsport. Dan Ginchard, who came into this weekend leading, is now 7 points off the lead, 350, so 1 point from second place, with Catoulis 4th and Leon Wilson 5th, who we saw on that podium there. I'm pleased to say that Piers Pryor has served his 5-second penalty from the last race. In fact, it was more of a drive-through. I think there's maybe a slow stop actually, that one. And he is with me now to talk through some of these penalties that have come through, because I mean, you've got the order of the cars finishing that we've just seen there, and you've got the actual classified results.
Yeah, we haven't had a huge amount of time to think about this, because as you probably, if you're watching, we've just had a GB3 race. However, as it finished, it was Wilson, Phelps, Junkos, Pribble. The official results are Wilson, Pribble, Bostangiev, Dobson. Bearing in mind that Bostangiev started 13th, Dobson started 16th, and Jason Pribble was 4th and is now 2nd and goes from pole in this one.
And the huge championship thing, if we look at the bottom here, cars 3 and 49, additional 30-second time penalty in lieu of drive-through for exceeding track limits. Now, one of those cars, number 49, is Dan Ginchard, which drops him down to like 3rd from last.
21st.
And why would it be a 30-second? Why would it be in lieu of a drive-through penalty? Explain that.
The way that it goes is basically you get a couple of freebies for going over track limits, and a 5-second penalty, a 10-second penalty, and so on, and then eventually you get given a drive-through for exceeding track limits too many times. There were so many track limits coming in during that race that the race direction team couldn't get them out quick enough, so he should have got a drive-through penalty, which is approximately 30 seconds, and also Alex O'Grady as well.
Yeah.
So therefore, basically, everyone's going to have to be a lot more well-behaved at staying within the white lines and the curbs this time, otherwise we might have a repeat, which completely jumbled up the order. Still very impressed at Jason Pribble.
Yeah.
He's been promoted to second place. He was the driver that got his track limits up to a warning first in the race,
right.
and then saw the warning and thought, you know what, I better behave
yeah.
myself.
But he starts on pole position here for this upcoming race, so possibly a great weekend for him. Also, Ava Dobson finishing fourth, her best result in GB4.
Yep.
That means now, with this race to €50,000 that goes towards in the Formula One Academy season next year against Megan Bruce, who isn't racing this weekend because she's racing in F1 Academy, that means she only needs a point now to bag €50,000. So she's driving for 50. I mean, it's an absolutely ridiculous situation. I know everyone at Arden is absolutely over the moon, and I believe you caught up with her peers after that last race.
Ava, you're battling this weekend in the GB4 Championship for some good results, but also for that prize fund towards F1 Academy, which I know is a goal of yours. P10 provisionally after race 2 this weekend. That must be a good one for your confidence and also for that points tally towards that goal.
Yeah, for sure. It really wasn't my goal at the end of the day to win it, because I came in this championship just to learn and just do whatever, honestly. So at the end of the day, I still honestly don't care that much if I win it or not. I mean, it would be great if I did, but obviously I'm just here to learn as much as I can, and I have such a great team behind me, so it's all been really good.
You've tasted F1 Academy this year. Megan Bruce, your challenger in the that prize for the €50,000 towards F1 Academy, is racing in Singapore this weekend. Must be good for you. You mentioned that learning is your main objective, to be, basically getting better every weekend, and a solid top 10 in that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really great that she went to go, honestly. I mean, I'd love to race in Singapore. That's such a cool track. But honestly, yeah, just it is what it is at the end of the day. Whether she wins it, if I win it, or if someone else wins it, it is what it is. Like, no one, it's never that deep, So
Absolutely.
I'm just going to keep going with my confidence and just keep getting places as much as I can.
Well, you've been doing that this weekend so far. 2 more races this weekend, both reverse grid races. It always throws a spanner in the works. What are you expecting from those?
I'm expecting everyone to crash and then just kind of not crashing. So, everyone's obviously, people are fighting for championships and stuff. So, obviously I'm expecting lots of, battling and stuff. So I'm not going to be surprised if there's a couple offs. Lots of track limits. So maybe they'll get some more. So.
Well, you were the beneficiary of staying within the white lines in that one, so I assume you'll be using that again in the next.
Yeah, for sure. Stay in the white line for sure.
Absolutely. Ava Dobson, good luck in the final 2 races of the season.
Thank you.
So Ava Dobson just needs one more point to bag that €50,000 towards a Formula One Academy season next year. This is Jason Pribble in shot, the number 59. He was upgraded to second in that last race. He leads us off from pole position this reverse grid race, and he caught up with Piers earlier.
Jason, great race for yourself there. Kept yourself out of trouble just about, and so close to the podium, 4th place. You must be pretty happy though.
Yeah, it definitely came as a bit of a surprise when I came into the pit lane from P9 on track. But, you got to follow the rules to make positions, and that's just how it is. So I'm happy to, rectify what happened with just yesterday's race and getting comfortable in the car, showing our pace in the dry and going out there and going fast.
Yeah, actually, you were the first driver on our timing screens to get a warning for track limits on lap 2, and then somehow was the only driver inside the top 9 positions apart from leader Leon Wilson, who didn't get a penalty. So impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's all about managing that dirty air. I think a lot of the cars were just battling super hard. Everyone's out there fighting for a championship. They'll take as much as they can. I think it was a bit misleading because none of the marshals were giving us any track limits warnings or anything like that. And the first round here at the beginning of the year, they didn't have track limits penalties. So I think a lot of people were maybe a bit led astray for that. And I was happy to, keep to it and really trust that they were going to enforce those, and they did, and it worked out well for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and this has been a good weekend. I think probably your strongest on average in terms of pace. Also, this weekend, we saw yesterday, you were right up there inside the top 5. Unfortunately, just fell down the order. We didn't quite see what happened. What went on there?
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, better than today, to be honest. I started P12 and got up to P5, obviously, with some help from some incidents on track, but ultimately you have to be there to take the opportunities where they are. And unfortunately, 5 minutes to go in the race, the gear actuator failed. Car just got stuck in fourth and couldn't go any further. So it's a bit of a shame, but like I said, I'm happy to rectify what happened, and feeling strong for race 3 as well.
Yeah, very unlucky there. It's just a component failure, very unusual in the GB4 Championship, but you've come back fighting 2 reverse grids coming up. The one from this weekend at Donington and then the one carried over from Brands Hatch. What can you do?
I mean, I've been able to manage quite well from the mid-pack, but luckily this time around I'll be starting P1 for race 3. And, I've got my share of experience starting from P1 or P2. I know what to do and what not to do. So I think now we can find a happy medium and get a race win this weekend.
I think if race wins been on this year, then this is your best opportunity because you've had great pace, and we'll see you go from pole position in race 3.
Absolutely. This is a special weekend. I'm feeling extremely confident, so looking forward to it.
Jason, thanks so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Two races down, 2 races left to go to crown our champion in the 2025 season of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. And it seems as though every race that goes by, the title race tightens up. Will that keep being the case, and will we heading into the season finale with an even tighter margin, or could Ari Bansal steal away the championship here in this race? We'll update you with that as the season goes on. We'll take a look around this circuit once again with those runs into Redgate, down the bottom of the hill at the old hairpin, and of course into McLean's and Coppers, which has seen its fair share of drama so far this weekend. The Fogarty S, then the Melbourne hairpin, and of course that run into the final turn at Goddard's. Such a difficult circuit to navigate, especially when the wind's picking up, and it certainly is getting faster around here as the day is going on, so could be even trickier conditions than the 2 races we have dealt with so far this afternoon. It has been a fascinating weekend of racing, and we've got 2 reverse grids left to go, the first of which is based from qualifying. We'll take a very quick look through the grid. It's Jason Pribble from pole position alongside Lewis Werrell on that front row of the grid in his debut weekend in the championship for KMR Sport. Alongside that, it's Thomas Ingram Hill, then Ari Bansal in 4th position, the driver who now leads the championship for Elite Motorsports team, but of the top 3 in the championship, he can technically score the least amount of points. We'll discuss that in a moment. Jack Taylor in 5th position with Alex O'Grady in 6th, having a pretty poor start, unfortunately, to the weekend, at least when it comes to post-race such action. Dayton Coulthard in 7th, then Leandro Juncos in 8th position in the 77 Hill Speed car, before we get to Lucas Blakely in 9th. Leon Wilson in 10th position, and then it's 2nd and 3rd in the championship. It's Dan Ginchard in 11th position and Isaac Phelps in 12th for the Elite Motorsports team. Behind that, though, still plenty of drivers. Enzo Holman, Stefan Bostangia for pace performance in 14th position. In 15th place, it'll be Alex Catoulas, who is no longer in contention for the 2025 title. Luca Magnussen will be starting from 16th position for the Fortec Motorsports team. In 17th place, it'll be Ava Dobson, who now is joint leader of the highest placed female drivers in this championship with Megan Bruce, and she's got 2 more races to score at least 1 point. Josh McLean will be starting alongside that with Dudley Ruddock and John O'Donnell in 19th and 20th position. 2 final rows, though, to deal with here. We've got Holly Mile, we've got Flame Auricola, and then on the last row of the grid for the penultimate race of the season, it'll be Caitlin McDaniel and Lily Watkins. Updates to what points can be scored, because, of course, here in the reverse grid race, you get 20 points for a race victory. You also gain a point for every position that you gain relative to your starting position. In this race alone, Ari Bansal can score a maximum of 23 points because he starts from 4th, can gain 3 extra positions, win the race, and it would be 23 points. Dan Ginchard could score 30 points because he's starting from 11th position, so he'd gain, if he were to win the race, he'd gain 11. Then also Isaac Phelps could gain 11 spots, so he can gain 31. So technically, Isaac Phelps has the most potential for point scores across the weekend. That's getting a little bit too complicated. I will be keeping you up to date throughout the race. And guess what? Piers Pryor, we've got some rain potentially, just a little bit of spots around the circuit.
Yeah, we're hearing reports of a few drips and drops. You can't see anything too heavy outside our commentary box window at the moment. We're pretty much in line with the second row of the grid looking across the circuit there, just below the Hyundai branded board above the circuit. I think this race is going to go one of two ways. Either we're going to see more chaotic changes and track limit penalties, or everyone will look at the results of the previous race and go, do you know what, if I don't get any track limit penalties, I might end up somewhere pretty high up the grid. Stefan Bosanjiev didn't really get much attention in that pre-show because we had so much to get to in such a short amount of time. Third place, podium, just by staying out of trouble. He's qualified or started in grid 13.
Yeah, indeed. Well, they're all in position. The top of the championship, Ari Bansal, 357. Isaac Phelps, 351. Dan Ginchard, 350. 2 races left to go to crown our champion. And 18 minutes goes back onto the board with Jason Pribble, starting from reverse grid pole. But can he win from there? The race begins. Poor start from Lewis Werrell once again. He had a poor one in the previous race, and Ari Bansal's working his way through the middle of the field. He's going to try and drag himself up into the podium position at the moment. He's got Jack Taylor, though, down his inside as they work their way into the opening corner of the race. It's Jack Taylor on the inside of Ari Bansal, who's trying to go all the way around the outside to take third position, and he does indeed do so. But can he find his way past Thomas Ingram Hill? A spun round, it's Josh McLean at the first corner. Ari Bansal, though, on the attack, the championship leader trying to find his way through. Yeah, Tom Ingram Hill made a good move in turn 1, takes second place with side by side. That's our championship leader, Ginchard, I think. Alongside with Lucas Blakely, as we've got side by side further back as well. That's Catullus. Move for the lead. Ingram Hill looking around the outside. Oh, there was a small touch in the middle of the corner. McLean's, we're still side by side. Pribble in the 59, the grey with pink highlights. The number 8, lock up round the outside. Tom Ingram Hill goes on the dirty stuff. He's going to be losing a position. Now Bansal's back on the attack. This is big for Bansal. One further position. He'll be scoring the maximum he can possibly score in this race at 23 points. Our championship leader is going to look straight down the inside of Jason Pribble as the Vortex goes side by side behind, doesn't commit to it. Jason Pribble into the Fogarty S, trying to send it all the way through in that charcoal grey and blue car that leads our race for ADM. But it is that bright yellow car of Ari Bansal, our current championship leader, his teammate trying to work up the field in the background. There's too much going on down towards the hairpin to be able to pick out everything as we see the 7 making a move up the inside of 7 or 17. Couldn't catch it. It was one of the Douglas cars, but good defensive driving from Pribble so far, although he's locked up. He's wide. That's allowed Bansal through. I was about to say what a brilliant defence he did into the Fogarty S's and the Melbourne hairpin, but just snatched a break on the inside towards the last corner, and that's allowed Bansal through. I think Bansal is going to have the pace advantage over Pribble in the whole fullness of the race, but another lockup from Pribble as well. He's now under pressure once again from Tom Ingram Hill. Don't forget, Pribble, 4th on the road, 2nd after the full classification. Here's a look at that move, or that mistake again. He's forcing Bansal to the inside, turned in with a bit too much brake pressure on. That inside brake unloaded, or the inside front wheel unloaded, just locked up, washed him wide, and now we've got battling. That's the 27, Leon Wilson, the race winner from race 1 this morning, or whatever race it was this morning, race 2 of the weekend. He's fighting with Dayton Coulthard, who won the first race of the weekend. Yeah, indeed. So 2 race winners already going into battle here. We'll say with Ari Bansal in his current position, we're taking a look at some of these fights that are unfolding around this circuit. You've got Leandro Juncos coming under pressure, of course, from Isaac Phelps. At present, at least with 1 lap complete, Ari Bansal would have 380 points, would be 19 points clear of Isaac Phelps, 25 points clear of Dan Ginchard. Massive moment with Dayton Coulthard, side by side between 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and Ginchard has had a terrible exit. He's coming under pressure as they come down to the Melbourne hairpin. Yeah, I think, is that Lewis Werrell just trying to regain the place he lost earlier on the 69? Yes, I think it is. So Werrell, who was on the front row, dropped back, but now fighting with Ginchard. Ginchard just carrying a bit too much speed through the Fogarty S, is trying to keep with his championship challenger. Now Phelps in the yellow car fighting side by side with the bright blue of Dayton Coulthard, the red and black car there of the 49 Dan Ginchard, trying to gain back that position. We've still got fighting for podium positions. We've got a move from Alex O'Grady, a big lock up on the inside turn 1, contact with the 50 of Jack Taylor. That was a big send coming in from Alex O'Grady, going full send into the opening corner, but now we've got the number 50 of Taylor going back up and under into the Craner curves they go. Leon Wilson into the mix as well, fresh after that victory earlier on in the day. Isaac Phelps has worked his way through Coulthard to now works his way up into 8th position, gaining a crucial extra couple of points. Yeah, here we go. Fight for 2nd place is still on. Pribble defensive into McLean's. We've seen Tom Ingram Hill try around the outside. He's trying the inside this time. He's got a good exit. Can he get underneath Pribble at Coppice? Yes, he can. He's through this time. So it is now Bansal pulling away at the lead of the race.
Pribble lost the place. It's now Ingram Hill second, Pribble third. Taylor still remains fourth, just about, after fighting with O'Grady, who's fifth. Although Pribble's coming back at him into the Fogarty S's. You can't go around the outside there, or can you?
It's going to slow him down. Now comes Taylor. That was a poor exit there, and it's also going to bring in Alex O'Grady, who might make it 3 wide here. He looks straight down the inside, doesn't commit to it. So Taylor's going to work his way through potentially here on Pribble as they work their way into the penultimate corner of the track, and he has made his way through. Whoa. So Taylor getting past
Wilson.
O'Grady also. Leon Wilson off the road, just about rejoining, dropping a position importantly to Isaac Phelps, but not to Ginchard.
Yeah, dropping 2 positions. Oh, and O'Grady on the grass there, and it's contact. Oh, no. Pribble turns round Jack Taylor, who's having a torrid weekend. First race in the gravel, second race spun on the first lap. Taylor spun by Pribble, but I think actually that was caused by Alex O'Grady, who was on the inside of Pribble on the grass. So not really much Pribble or Taylor could have done there. I think O'Grady going for a gap that was just closing in front. That's allowed the likes of Junkos involved. He's going to potentially go through here. Phelps is right on the back of this group. Where's Ginchard? He's dropped back off the back of Phelps.
He's in 7th position, so he's behind Leon Wilson at the moment. Championship update. With 12 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, but still obviously another race to go. 380 points for Harry Bansal, 369 for Isaac Phelps, 363 for Dan Ginchard, as maybe Phelps might be able to pick up an extra position, an extra couple of points. He's going to move his way into 4th position if he can get past Junkos here, who can get aggressive on the outside. Doesn't quite do it. What can Dan Ginchard do in that red and black car that's basically the 4th car in this little train?
Wow, this is a big battle here, both in this race and also for the championship. Phelps now, he's past Junkos. Junkos is trying around the outside of the Fogarty S's. We've not seen many successful overtakes around the outside there this weekend. In GB3 we have, GB4 not so much. And now we've got the 2 Douglas cars in blue. The 28 is Coulthard, winner of the first race of the weekend. The white helmet with the 62, that's Blakely trying to go around the outside of his teammate. Ginchard now right underneath the rear wing, literally right underneath the rear wing of the 27 there of Leon Wilson with the white stripe on the red. Ginchard in the red with the black highlights. Ginchard trying around the outside of the last corner. I think he's going to get that one done. He has. What a move.
Brilliant move there from Dan Ginchard to take 6th position away from Leon Wilson. We're seeing the top 3 drivers in this championship prove their worth when it comes to their search for the title. There comes a look to the inside as Alex Catoulis is going to make a move on Dayton Coulthard. They work their way through. He's also got past Lucas Blakely and all of that. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Coulthard is our first driver who's under investigation or being looked at for track limits. A black and white flag. He has no more jokers remaining and actually ran wide on the exit of turn 1 this lap. So he needs to be squeaky clean for the remainder of the race. And now he's lost another position to his teammate of Blakely. Careful, boys, teammates here. As much as there are no team orders, you don't want to be having an awkward debrief in the truck after the race.
We're getting word that Ava Dobson has returned to the pit lane. Now, obviously, Ava Dobson's in that fight to be the highest placed female driver in this championship, and the €50,000 prize that goes with it in assistance to get you into F1 Academy. Now, that is important because as much as she's joint on points with Megan Bruce, it would go back to countback. And Megan Bruce had 4th place earlier on in the season, so technically Megan Bruce would win that one.
So Megan Bruce would win on a tiebreak, is what you're saying, even though neither of them have won a race this year so far. And also I don't think Dobson's going to have the opportunity to score any points in this race because she's behind her grid position and points down to 15th place in this race. Currently, she would be rejoining in about 20th place, I think it would be.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. If she scores a point, then obviously that will be that would have it then set and sorted because it should be 1 point ahead of Megan Bruce. They're both locked on points. Fastest lap of the race then comes in from Isaac Phelps, who currently sits in 4th position in this race. 1st, 4th, and 6th for your championship protagonists means that there would be 15 points separating the top 3 heading into the final race, which is great for us. Not so great for some people behind the scenes trying to crunch all the numbers, and not so great for the drivers who want to see this over as soon as possible. Who was that going slow?
He's a lap down.
Yeah.
Sorry, we panicked there, everyone. Don't worry. That number 7 there we're looking at, Enzo Horman. He's already been through the pit lane. Black and white flag also for Horman for track limits. So he's just going to stay out of the way, not wanting to get involved in any drama here. So the leader of the race, Bansal, still our fastest man, setting the purple, or setting the fastest lap. Actually, the last lap was Phelps, but Bansal pulling the gap to 2nd place. We've got a move there. That is Ginchard. in the 49 passes teammate of Junkos. I don't think Junkos is going to fight that one too hard. He knows that Ginchard's fighting for a championship. We see in the foreground the number 3 of O'Grady defending from Phelps, who's closed that gap in the last lap or so. Phelps now in the yellow car, just at the top of shot, going out of shot now, is on a move. He knows every point is critical.
Certainly so. Look at some of these fights happening down. Alex Catoulis once again embroiled in this fight with the 2 Douglases. Of course, the first of which would be the likes of Lucas Blakely. Then it's Dayton Coulthard. Would it be Doug Lai? Into the first corner, they're going to go with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Still plenty of time left to go. We've just passed the halfway point as Isaac Phelps once again sets the fastest lap of the race on his attack of Alex O'Grady.
Yeah, we've got Slipstream down the hill here. Looking at the 2 Douglases, pressure in the back of Catoulis. This is for 8th, 9th and 10th. That is the white the yellow is the Catoulis, then the 62 white helmet blue car Blakely, then behind the 28 also blue Douglas teammate of Coulthard. Coulthard's got a brilliant run out of the old hairpin, looks to the outside, well the inside of Schwantz, which is the outside of McLean's. Is he going to go around the outside? They're a bit wide on the marbles. Blakely chops his nose off on the exit, so Blakely was on the attack, is now on the defence. We see also the 17 of Bastangiev, podium driver from the previous race after penalties, fighting with the black Luca Magnusson. He races for Fortec Motorsport.
Certainly so. Like I say, we've got some great fights happening up and down the circuit. This one, though, probably the most pressing when it comes to the title contention, as the defensive line comes in for Alex O'Grady, who's doing a brilliant job in this race. I'm sure will be under investigation for that 3 wide incident down into the final corner. Here comes Luca Magnusson again, trying to get his way through. Can't quite do it.
Yeah, we saw that incident early in the race. We only saw it once live. But from what I saw, it was O'Grady on the inside, all 4 wheels from what I could see off of the racing surface, and into the side of Pribble, which was into the side of Taylor. So unfortunately, Pribble, Taylor dropping down the order. O'Grady's still fighting on, but I don't think it's going to be going well for O'Grady in that one if it is investigated after the race. We now see the 23 of Magnusson right of shot in the black car, looking around the outside of the 17 of Bastangiev. Stangiev not quite having the run that he had in the previous one, although O'Grady on that last lap did set the fastest lap of the race while defending from Phelps. So those two, while fighting together, have still got some serious pace. Once again, Magnusson looking to the outside, goes for the cutback. So close was Magnusson on the rear of Bastangiev through the middle of the old hairpin. Completely committed through there. Now we go up the hill, through Schwantz to left, into the right of McLean's. Again to the outside, Magnusson looking for the cutback, or is he going to try and go all the way around the outside? He's got an overlap. He'll do well to go around the outside of Coppice, because it goes pretty much 180 degrees through the long radius corner.
Certainly so. And, here we go. Isaac Phelps having a big look down the inside of O'Grady, who might be deep here in the fog. Yes, no, he nails it perfectly. Phelps is trying everything to find his way through at the moment, but the opportunity is simply not there for him. O'Grady is just driving perfectly around this circuit at the moment, desperately trying to hang on to what would be an epic podium. Of course, we have seen O'Grady on the podium a couple of times, but only around the Donington Park circuit. So, again, very impressive. But we've got Jason Pribble here down in 14th position, trying to get past Magnuson's close back up into that. Bit of a shame for him this race. Yeah, we're looking still at this battle. Stangiev and Luca Magnusson. Pribble, who was involved in that incident earlier with O'Grady and Jack Taylor, getting on the back of this group. You know, he's got some good pace this weekend. He's going to look to make a move potentially down towards Redgate. He can overtake on the inside or the outside in this corner, but neither of those being chosen this time by just choosing for a better exit, all 3 of these drivers, to put themselves in a good position going down Hollywood and through the Craner curves. Keeping half an eye on the front of the field. Bansal pretty comfortably in the lead of the race at the moment, as we've got the 95 there of John O'Donnell, debutant this weekend, stopped on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. If he can't get that moving, I fear an interruption by the safety car might be inbound. Yeah, but with 5 minutes left to go, there is a look down the inside and some contact. So that was where that came from, was Flamer Ricola down the inside, so it's broken the front right wheel. I did wonder if it was a bit bent in. So if that car can't move, I actually suspect it might be the end of the race, because if the safety car comes out, I don't know how much time, 5 minutes, it's time. 2 laps on the safety car would pretty much see that time disappear. So I think we're racing to the safety car boards. That car hopefully not still on the exit. It is, but off of the racing line. Obviously it'll be under double waved yellows down into the Melbourne hairpin there. Yes, but it's not as far as I'd be comfortable with. Yeah, anyway, Flame Ricola there, trying a move up the inside of the old hairpin. Going in a little bit hot, a little bit clumsy from Flame that time. She'll
I think looking back on that one, and I might have done things different in hindsight, but hey, it's one of those. You've got to go for the moves, and those are two fairly new drivers to single-seater slicks and wings racing, and they will use that as experience for their future careers. We come back to the order. Jason Pribble has got past both Luka Magnussen and Stefan Bostangiev on that lap, so that takes him back up into 12th place after he was fighting right at the top of the field.
Shows the great speed that Jason Pribble has been having this weekend. We have seen some really good speed out of him. Of course, the post-race penalty is working out in his favour to gift him a solid result in the previous race with a third place finish in the previous one. I have been told safety car has been deployed, by the way. I have been told there was another update to race 2's results, which there's a red flag we're seeing out on circuit.
Yeah, our timing screen says safety car, and we've now had confirmation on the live timing that the red flag has been deployed. I imagine due to O'Donnell's car, the pace car, stopped on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. So that is going to be a full race classification, only 3 minutes remaining. So pretty much your order will be counted back to the last full lap. So Bansal takes the win.
Yeah, indeed. Now, with that, because obviously the race distance to where we're at, this is a full points as well,
yeah,
right?
It should be, because we're over 75% of the race distance. So yeah, it should be full points for that, which means that there's no weird half points in the championships, which makes our maths much better.
I've not made the columns wide enough for half points, so I'd be very grateful if we don't deal with half points. We have had half points before.
Yes, we have. Let's see if we can avoid that, please.
At the moment, as things stand in this race, with Phelps in 4th, Ginchard in 5th, and Ari Bansal the race winner at present, it would be 380 points for Ari Bansal, 372 for Isaac Phelps, 367 for Dan Ginchard. So just 13 points separating the top 3 heading into the final race. Ooh, sign me up.
Yeah, and that, remember, is not the race from this weekend. That is the reverse grid race from Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. So the likes of Lucas Blakely, Lewis Werrell, Jon O'Donnell, first of all, great to have you in the championship, but you won't be joining us later on.
No, absolutely, yes. It is only for those drivers that were taking part in the Brands Hatch round that are eligible to take part in that race. Which is a bit of a shame to say that we'll be saying goodbye to some of our drivers. I was going to say I've got an update on the standings that I've got on my screen. Josh McLean's apparently won the race, which is a little bit. There we go. It's just corrected itself. That really got me for a second. It is definitely Ari Bansal, comfortably so, and a brilliant drive. Got to say, he to have worked his way through there and to have found his way up the order. Superb stuff. Thomas Ingram Hill, Alex O'Grady will be joining them on the podium, and O'Grady back onto the podium for the first time since, of course, that round at Alton Park.
Yeah, it was another good race, wasn't it, Lewis? We've been treated to 3 good races. Everyone was much better behaved in terms of track limits that time, although remains to be seen. We saw a fair few updates after the race last time. Hopefully not too many after the race this time.
We shall see. Obviously, there we can see conversations between Thomas Ingram Hill and Ari Bansal. So we'll head down to Jon Jackson, though, to catch up with our top 3 and see exactly what's been going on.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lewis. Ari, congratulations. A race win that's going to be incredibly important when it comes to this title.
Yes, I think I'm just wondering right now, like, if the championships, like, standings, how they'll change, because you get points for every overtake also.
Well, Lewis might tell me in my ear while I chat to you, because I was half listening. I could half hear what he was saying there, but I think you've got a decent lead now. Just talk me through the move that got you the lead for the race.
I don't remember.
It was a while ago now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just had made a good start. I managed to get stuck in, and yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, it was quite a good move. Just quite clean, because I think definitely Pribble was not given the position up really easily. So I just had to be quite careful also, because like we've been talking about, the championships at stake.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're not going to have a problem with the race being red flagged when you're leading the race, of course. You're 8 points ahead in the championship now, which must be nice to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
And you've also got that reverse grid race coming up later on that should have happened at Brands Hatch. I mean, I'm not sure off the top of my head where you're starting, but the same kind of plan that you had in this race, really?
Yeah, for sure, same kind of plan. I think I'll be starting P11. Yeah, Yeah, that'll be quite difficult because we are all starting at like P12, 11, 10. So that's going to be for sure fun and also quite difficult.
Well, it's important that you got these points here, so congratulations again, and we'll look forward to watching the final race of the season later on.
Yes, thank you very much.
There we go, Ari Bansal with Elite Motorsport. We'll move around. Tom Ingram Hill. How was that race for you, sir?
Yeah, really good. I needed it, to be honest. Yeah, no, it was a really good race. I had to be really aggressive on that first lap. Made a bit of a mistake, probably should have got the lead, but I managed it well after that and got past. And it was a really good race. And yeah, I was quite happy.
Knowing that there's been a lot of penalties handed out for track limits this weekend, how cautious is that having to make you out there?
Very cautious, as I was one that got a penalty in the first one. But I tried to manage it and be very careful. I had a big gap behind, so I was like, there's no point in risking it. Yeah.
We obviously have another reverse grid race later on. Can we see the similar success?
Yeah, I start one place further back, so hopefully it means I can go one place further forward. Yeah, it's all really good. So yeah, thanks to Fortec, thanks to Dan. Yeah, everyone's been great this weekend.
Excellent stuff. Congratulations on another podium.
Thank you.
Here we go, Tom. Here we go. We're going to move around to Alex O'Grady. Alex, it's been a little while, but good to see you back on the podium. You must be happy that you're ending the season strong.
Well, it's not ended yet. We have one more race, but this weekend has been really tough. Yesterday I got completely smashed off by another driver, and it was deemed a racing incident, which I wasn't happy about. And then in race 2 this morning, then it wasn't very good. We managed to finish P5 on track, but lacked a bit of pace, struggled with understeer, and I ended up getting a 45-second penalty or something stupid like that. So going into this race, I was really angry. Just felt like it wasn't very fair. But I did the job here. I had a little incident on the last corner with Jason and Taylor, but I went down the inside and I think he turned in. So hopefully we're fine, and I'm happy to come away with a podium.
Well, you've turned your anger into a position on the podium, which is a good thing. What do you think you can achieve in that final reverse grid race that we should have had at Brands Hatch later?
I think we used our 2 new tyres for race 1, so we might be a bit behind on tyres, but I think if we can just do what we did there, get a good start. I've done a really good start there, met up a couple of places, and then keep working forward. And yeah, the pace has been good this weekend. We've been really quick. We topped a session on Thursday. So the pace has been good, and hopefully we can end the season on a high.
Excellent stuff. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Alex O'Grady. Of course, tyres that will be used in that race later on will be the tyres that were left over from Brands Hatch from a few weeks ago. So his tyre concerns may not be a problem. I'm not entirely sure what tyres he used a few weeks ago. But that was the top 3, and Lewis will now talk you through the podium.
Certainly so, and yes, it did seem as though maybe a little bit frustrated with how this weekend has unfolded there for Alex O'Grady, but we'll have to wait and see how the final race of the season will unfold. We'll be starting, I think, from 5th position. It should be, at least according to what I have written down from my Brands Hatch notes, it should be Pstandiev starting from the reverse grid pole with Jack Taylor, then Junkos, then Thomas Ingram Hill starting from 4th, which is, again, as he said, 1 position worse. He started this race, and Alex O'Grady in 5th. For those high up in the championship, nice and easy. They're all starting around themselves. So Dan Ginchard in 10th, 11th for Mansell, and 12th for Phelps. That is, of course, up to change, dependent on what happens in post-race investigations heading into that final race, because, of course, race control will be extremely busy after this one. I did say there was a couple of updates even from race 2's results in the middle of that one, but either way, we'll welcome our drivers on to the podium. Alex O'Grady will be brought onto the podium for the 3rd time this season. He had a first, he's had a second, and now he's had the 3rd, so he's completed the trio. Onto the podium then for the 2nd time is Thomas Ingram, who had a 2nd place back in Silverstone, but does indeed jump back onto the podium and takes over 5th place in the Drivers' Championship in doing so. Ari Bansal, though, looks to be heading into the season finale as the championship leader, though. Ari Bansal, with 380 points, will have an 8-point lead over Isaac Phelps. Dan Ginchard a further 5 points behind. The sun's coming out. We're ready for some good racing. And yeah, that 3rd race, or technically 4th race, let me get my words right, is going to be incredible. And we're going to have a champion at the end of it. Who's it going to be? We'll have to wait and see. Ari Bansal there, top step of the podium. I don't think he'll be winning the next race, not from 10th position, but you never know. It might require a champion's drive. Let's take a look, though, at highlights from the race. Highlights from the penultimate race of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. A poor start from the front row, but a great one from our race leader, who would head out in front of the field. Of course, it was Ari Bansal, who would lead in the first corner, and there we go. We'll see them now. It's Jason Pribble who would be leading from pole position. Ari Bansal making the progress from the middle of the field. Of course, Thomas Ingram Hill, second position. Jack Taylor on the inside of Ari Bansal as they'd worked their way through the opening corner at Redgate. A spin at the opening turn for McLean would drop him to the rear end of the field before Thomas Ingram Hill was battling to try and take over the race lead from Jason Pribble. Out a little bit wide going through McLean's. Bit of a lock-up heading into Coppice, and that would drop him out wide, allowing Pribble to hang on, but allowing Bansal to get through into second. A big look around the outside of the final corner. That lock-up for Pribble opened up the door for Bansal to work his way through, and he was into the race lead, scoring the maximum 23 points that he could score. Big lock-up coming in from Alex O'Grady into that opening corner as he would burn out a little bit at the front right wheel, but not too majorly. Be able to try and challenge for the podium positions. A few looks were coming in from the likes of Taylor on the inside of Pribble, who would force his way through, making his way up the order. There would be this moment though, Pribble down the inside with Alex O'Grady making it 3 wide into that final corner, and there'd be a spin. Pribble would be dropping down the order, as would Jack Taylor as well. Flame Auricular late in the race would make this contact with the number 95 there of John O'Donnell, who would be a retirement from the race courtesy of it. It would bring out the safety car and eventually the red flag as well. So we'll take a look at the provisional standings, of course, after the race. It is Ari Bansal, 380 points, Isaac Phelps, 372, and Dan Ginchard on 367. All three well within championship contention, all with plenty of points to score in the final race of the season. A 3-way showdown. For those behind, for Alex Catoulis, he's going to be in 4th position. There's not anything that's going to be changing in that. He will be in 4th position at the end of the season. For 5th position, though, real tight fight there. Thomas Ingram Hill 2 points clear of Leon Wilson. Alex O'Grady not too far behind. Leandro Juncos also in contention for that. Those 4 all separated by just 7 points. Enzo Holman and Jack Taylor locked at the bottom end of the top 10 as well. We'll take a look at the provisional race results, of course, very much subject to change. Ari Bansal victorious across the line by 2.1 seconds over Thomas Ingram Hill and Alex O'Grady, who we've caught up with. Isaac Phelps, the driver who sits second in the championship, comes across the line in 4th place after starting from 12th. An impressive drive from him. Dan Ginchard into 5th, now 3rd in the championship after coming into the weekend as the championship leader. Leandro Juncos in 6th position before we get to Wilson, Catoulis, Blakely and Coulthard being the top 10. Of course, Blakely being one of those drivers. Same with Werrell, who we will not be seeing out in the 4th race later on in today's racing. Pribble in 12th position, dropping down from reverse grid pole, with Magnussen in 13th. Bostanjev set to potentially start from reverse grid pole in the next race, finished in 14th there, with Taylor in 15th. Then Ruddock, Marl, McDaniel, Auricular and Watkins, the top 20. Then it's McLean, Dobson, Holman and of course O'Donnell with the retirement from the race late on. Bit of a shame there for O'Donnell, but still a pretty dramatic race. We'll head down though into the paddock area where Leandro Juncos is being talked to by our very own Piers Pryor.
Thanks very much, Lewis. Yep, down here with Leandro. Started 8th, finished 6th. Sounds simple, but actually quite a dramatic race for yourself, wasn't it? There was a lot going on.
Yeah, quite a chaotic race. Obviously, reverse grid's always like that. It was a good start. Got up to P6, I think, at the first corner. And then I think there was a rookie driver starting P2. He just got stuck in traffic. So yeah, then we lost spots. But then the pace was good up to P4. And then, yeah, just it's difficult to track limits. Also, we got caught out the last race. And now I respect the track limits. I think no one else did. So hopefully I win this race if it goes like the last one. So, but yeah, it's just difficult. You know, you don't know what the limits are. You try to respect them. And then you see someone go by you and go way off track. You're like, you don't really know what to do. But if they're consistent, I feel pretty confident that I probably won this one.
I suppose you have to just control the controllables, don't you? Leandro, it's been a tricky weekend with the weather conditions through practice and then the wind yesterday, caught out by the wind yesterday as well, and it's still windy today. It's a real challenge out there.
Yeah, the wind's been difficult. I mean, even this morning we were P2 and it was all, old hairpin just caught me out. Just the wind, every lap was the same besides that one lap, and it's a shame that we couldn't, probably fight for the win this morning. But still P3 was good. Well, now not anymore. So, yeah, this race just trying to do the things right, and hopefully if like I said, things stay consistent, probably won this one and feel good for the reverse grid at the end of the day.
We look forward to the Brands Hatch race later on. Remind us where you're starting. Do you remember?
Yeah, P3. So
got a good chance.
Yeah, very good chance. So hopefully we'll see with track limits. So if I can explore a bit the track or stay the same, but should be a good one.
Alejandro, we'll let you go and get ready for that one, as we're going to bring Alex Catoulis in for a quick chat, because he made a fair few positions in that one. Started 15th, 8th on the road in the end. Alex, come this side. That was quite a fun race, I imagine, from your point of view, going up a fair few positions.
Yeah, no, the start was pretty okay, and then just kind of picked my way through it, and then kind of got behind the two Douglas cars, made a good move, and then kind of the race settled down from there. Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, starting lower down the order than I'm sure you would have wanted to, and we would expect you to. Wet qualifying made it tricky, but in the dry, clearly the pace is there.
Yeah, for sure. So I think just work on the wet driving, a few things to learn, but yeah, really enjoying this weekend, to be honest.
It's been really, really good fun to watch from the commentary box, and I hope everyone at home has been enjoying it as well. What can we expect in that final race this weekend? Final race of the 2025 Championship, of course, the one carried over from Brands. Remind us where you're starting in that one.
I'm starting 9th, and yeah, more of the same. Just go forward, have fun, and end it on a high.
End it on a high indeed. Alex Catoulis, thanks so much. Go and get yourself cooled off. I mean, it won't take long, but and prepared for the final race of the day. Off you go. We'll bring in Jon Jackson to conclude.
Seeing him off there. I think Jason Pribble was very unlucky.
I agree.
Because he was in one race and he lost a position in another race while he was doing that race. Because he was second in the revised, and now he's third in the revised race 2 standings.
Is he?
Yeah. Second revision. So he's in a race that he's lost a place in a race he's not even in because it happened 2 hours before. It's very confusing. We all sum everything up, of course, before the reverse grid race that should have happened at Brands Hatch, but I mean that turns everything on its head, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely it does, because also it's the pace and performance carried over from Brands, so the grid might look a little different to what we've been seeing this weekend so far, and some drivers who are maybe better at Brands or maybe are starting out a position a bit too high, and other drivers who weren't so good at Brands who have been quick here will be looking to make their way through. And don't forget, we've got a championship to decide. Ari Bansal in the hot seat at the moment. It's been all changed.
It has. Well, obviously we do say goodbye to some of the newer drivers that have come on for this round only, because they won't be able to race in the Brands Hatch round, which just means that I have to show you the standard annual Lucas Bletchley biscuits that have been made by one of his supporters that have been handed out. So it's always good to see Lucas Bletchley back, mainly because we get biscuits at the end of the second day. So good to see him back. Hopefully he'll be back maybe next year as well. We get him back on the grid, and we say goodbye to some of those other newer drivers, but we look forward to the final race of the season coming up later on. Check out all the information you need as to when that is live on the GB4 social media and the website, where you can read the full race review, and you can check out the final standings from all of the races this weekend, and in fact all of this season. We will see you a little bit later on with more in the GB4 Championship as we decide the title here at the Donington Decider.